If you're like me, you might have seen both the poster and title of this new feature from Phil Lord and Chris Miller and thought, uh-oh. Cheesy sci-fi was what immediately came to my mind, with a charming but cringe performance by Ryan Gosling, and only half of that ended up being true. Project Hail Mary is the newest blockbuster to be taking up all the space, pun intended, at your local cinema, and with good reason. On the surface, you can easily dismiss this as just a reskinned version of Ridley Scott's The Martian, which in itself is a competent enough story of a man who is abandoned on Mars and tries to get home. Project Hail Mary follows very familiar beats to The Martian, except for the getting home part. Ryan Gosling plays Dr. Ryland Grace, an overqualified science teacher who was woken up aboard a ship headed for a distant planet with zero memory of how he came to be there and little to no recollection of who he actually is. Throughout the course of the movie, both he and the audience piece together the type of person he is, as well as the events leading up to him waking up in space. There's fun to be had as the puzzle slowly gets put together, but the real meat and potatoes for what makes this movie so good is a combination of several things, which I'll get into, I guess, now. I don't really have anything else going on at the moment, do you?
Shut your fucking mouth!
The VFX and Greg Fraser's cinematography is so inspired, taking a lot of elements from Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, and Kubrick, and low-key a sequence in Ice Age 3 to really pull this thing off. In a time where most cinematography is so bland or dark that it's in desperate need of having those highlights cranked the fuck up, Project Hail Mary breathes some much needed fresh air into what we should be seeing on the screen. Striking visuals and creative shots. If Frankenstein can get a Best Cinematography nomination, then something like this deserves the actual award. VFX as well, they had the appropriate amount of time in the oven to look as good as it does. Especially on the IMAX screens, man. It looks incredible. I was blown away by these visuals, and it just goes to show if you don't have a 6-month turnaround, things can actually look really good. Kevin Feige. Ryan Gosling is combining so many of his iconic roles here to encapsulate Dr. Grace, namely the nice guys, which is probably the closest thing we're ever going to get to a sequel. For somebody who's essentially playing make-believe in front of the camera by himself the majority of this film, my god, Ryan is pulling off some raw emotion that had tears welling in my eyes constantly. Sandra Hüller is the right balance to Gosling's more comedic role, as she shows little to no emotion, having her eyes only set on the mission at hand and caring very little for the people who are sacrificing themselves for humanity's future. It's extremely bleak, but she grounds an otherwise eccentric story which is vital in making something like this. Now, onto the star of the show, Rocky. Everybody loves this little fucker, like he's the guy. Why I bring him up isn't just to give him his flowers, which he has gotten plenty of already, but I just want to mention that I'm so happy that they made this guy into an actual character and not just a plot device for Gosling to play around with. If I did have one gripe with the movie, it was that Rocky's species having different time relativity to us wasn't spoken about during the film, and I had to learn about that from people who'd read the book after the movie, especially since I was wondering why they had more astrophage than the humans did. It's a small detail for an otherwise amazing visual delight, so I'm not too hung up on it. Overall, I am surprised, but also not, at how good this film was. Lord and Miller have proven themselves time and time again that they know what they're doing when sitting in not just the producing chairs, but also the director's seat, with both Jump Street movies as an example, but if anything, their animated comedies Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego movies should have been a clear indicator that Project Hail Mary was going to be as vibrant as it was. I expected something fun, but a story so heartwarming and cathartic to this caliber really knocked me on my ass. It makes me wish even more that we got to see their version of the Han Solo movie instead of Ron Howard's boring as fuck film. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, but do I think Project Hail Mary is going to get a Best Picture nomination? It's way too early to tell, especially with such a stacked year of stuff still to come out, but if The Martian can get similar award nominations back 10 years ago, as well as the fact that Project Hail Mary is breaking box office records as the highest opening for a non-franchise movie ever, more or less, you could consider this to be this year's Sinners, if you just ignore the fact that this isn't an original idea. Also, side note, shout out to the guy who was sat next to me at the IMAX screening who constantly went on his phone and missed half of the visual gags, then proceeded to not let me pass as I was trying to leave the theater. Hope you had a great day, man. I'm gonna kill you.